Hello and welcome, Solo Guy here, and today what I want to do is unbox an oldie, but I certainly consider a goodie. This is the 2017 version of OGRE. It's a Steve Jackson Games. It's been around for a long time. The Pocket Box edition came out, I think, in 1977, 78, or 79. I remember playing the Pocket Box version in high school and did some through college, and really, now they've gone and fancified it a bit. They made this more of a deluxe version of this. So, let's go in, let's take a look. Okay, so you get a counter sheet with different units on there. It is double-sided, as you can see. You get another counter sheet. There's slots through some of the pieces here, so that kind of tells us we have to put some things together and see what that looks like. And these look like terrain and question marks. I think it probably would have to do with concealment. That would be my guess. Okay, we got a rule book. Okay, and we'll spend a little more time on that. You get not one, but two maps. But I'm going to only show just one map so you guys can see. It's only half of it. But this is it. This is a Hex Map. Okay, so this is a cardboard counter Hex Map game. The hexes are pretty big. It's like, wow, 1.5 inches at diameter. That's pretty impressive. So you can do a lot of stuff. Craters. And then, of course, these are ridges, and that's about it. There are other supplements you can buy if you're interested, where there's forests, and there's cities, and roads, and railways. This is just the brutal, nasty battlefield. I'm just showing you the other one. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the next one, the next map here, so you can see. And again, that's definitely, you know, pretty nasty. It looks like pretty nasty terrain. I don't think we're going to be finding any villages out here, or rivers, or forests. In fact, I don't think we'll find any living things out here. But anyways, that's not the point of the game, right? If you wanted that, you'd play outdoor survival from Avalon Hill. That's another time for another story. But anyways, so here's the counter tray. They like to call it the OGRE Garage. Okay. Fine. I'd show you the back of the box, but it's severely damaged. I happen to get this at a pretty reduced price. I couldn't say no because it's an awesome game. Just even to play, even if you go solo. All right. So I'll put that off to the side. Now, you also have 2 dice here. Okay. And really all you need are 2 dice. These represent the ones. Okay. So there's 2 sides. There's the Combine, and then there's the Pan-Europeans. And this hourglass, I believe, would be the Combine, and then the head thing here would be the Pan-Europeans. I hope I got that right. If not, well, somebody will point that out to me. Anyways, let's take a closer look at the rulebook here for a moment. Let's narrow in a little bit here on the rulebook. Okay, now this doesn't cover all the vehicle types or OGRE types that there are in the OGRE GEV universe. There are add-on games that you can buy, like GEV, and that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. But there's some really cool things in there, and so when you're looking at the rules here, you're going to see how some things they skip. Like if you look here for the rules, that gives you the rules section, and then notice it goes from 7 to 13. And like I said, you're not getting the complete rules. You're getting the rules that just allow you to play OGRE on this battlefield. Okay? And that's pretty much it. The battlefield is pretty simple, it's pretty nasty, and you still have to think your way through it, which is probably one of the reasons why you wanted to buy the game in the first place. So, first page, it's giving you a preface, it's giving you an introduction to the idea about what is the ogre. Okay, not that I plan to name the Mark V or the Mark III ogre Shrek or anything like that. Not like this is a shameless plug for Disney. But anyways, it gives you an introduction and scenario. So this kind of gives you an idea what a map setup could look like. Okay, it is one legal possibility, but there are other possibilities depending. Talks a little bit, so you got some more scenarios here. It talks a little bit about the map. There's not a lot of features on the map. It's pretty straightforward, like in the original game. Craters, you don't go. And nukes are pretty common in the world of Ogre and GEV, okay? Because pretty much it's nukes that can take out ogres and do damage to them, but the ogre also, you know, gives its blessings to its opponents. Units. So what units do you have? You have the missile tank, and it shows you what the numbers on the tank mean: attack strength, the range, the defense, and the movement, and the unit name. Okay. When you look over to here, okay, it'll show you the GEV. There's two types. I think one is for the other side. So in case there's a scenario you need some GEVs or something. You got a howitzer, okay? It doesn't move, but it reaches out and touches somebody with a nuclear missile package. You also have the missile tank. You also have the heavy tank, okay? And again, they have their strengths, they have their weaknesses. Over here, you got the grunts, the infantry, okay? That they're organized, so each point of infantry is a squad, so you can have up to 3 points of infantry, roughly a platoon. Okay, now you also have online support, which is really cool, and if you wanted to know more about the history of this universe, you can actually go and look it up, and it will give you a timeline. It's pretty interesting. It starts in 1995, which I don't know when the game designers were thinking, how far would this game go into the future? Okay. So you go on to the next thing here, and you've got advertisement for a card game version of Ogre. Okay, it shows you an example of a record sheet for one of the ogres, and then here, these two are pictures of the command post units. One is mobile, one is immobile. Okay, and they're assigned a certain number of defense points. It depends. It talks about the turn sequence, movement. You also have an app that you could download. I don't know if that's still true even today, because this was done, I believe, in 2017. I'm checking to see if there's a copyright on this. Yeah, it is 2017. I was correct. Okay, so that being said, moving on here. So it also talks about ramming. Okay, so that is truly the cry of the wicked. I didn't say cry of the weak. It doesn't work that way. Because the idea is you don't want the ogre to destroy your CP unit. That is the basic thing. CP stands for command post, where your leading officers, communications equipment, all that stuff is there in one location. They make a military unit function. Okay, and the ogre wants to take it out. And the other units, your ground effect vehicles, your missile tanks, your infantry, your howitzers, they're trying to prevent the ogre from crushing the CP unit. So either they immobilize the ogre where it can't fire upon the CP unit because it's not in range, or they have to take out all the weapon systems of the ogre as well as the tracks. So yeah, ramming may seem to be a cry of the weak to some, but it's not. Everything counts. Okay, so it talks about combat. So this is a picture of what the ogre looks like. Here, I'll show a little. So this is a picture of what the ogre looks like when it's put together in 3D. And as we go on to the next page, again, they show you merch. Okay, I don't know if this particular page is still on. They still are selling merchandise over at Warehouse 23. Now, a unit can either be at normal or it can be disabled. Okay, if it's disabled, it can't move, it can't shoot, but it still can defend itself. Okay, and it talks more about what's going on with the combat, the CRT results table, which you either have no effect, D for disabled, or X for outright, it's destroyed, no matter what. Okay, so then here we have an example of play going through a turn as far as what an ogre can do to these poor, innocent, defenseless units. Right. Okay. But this shows you that this Ogre 3, Mark 3, has been taking some punishment with it. Of course, you've got your acknowledgments. Hey, the game has lasted this long. It's not like chess, but in a sense, there is a chess-like aspect because you've got to think ahead. So on the back here, it gives you optional rules, and that's where it ends, where it did that big skip I mentioned. Like, hey, wait, it skipped from 7 to section 13. That's because you didn't need 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to play this. You can get those extra rules when you buy the add-ons, if you want. Okay? And then here for 13 gives you some options like mines, camouflage, dummy units, make the game a little bit more strategic, a little bit perhaps more interesting. Okay, and then here's 2 sheets. I wouldn't recommend writing on them, but it is certainly a way for you to keep track of what's happening. And then of course you've got your combat results table. Okay. Oh, so it is fractions rounded down. So if you got a 3-2 attack, it's going to be a 1-1. That's how it is. Okay. If it's 8-2, it's a 4-1 attack. Okay. NE is no effect, D is disabled, X is for eliminated, and that's pretty much it for the game. Let me show you the counters a little bit. Okay. So it's really cool because they show you what part belongs to what. So like all this here represents the regular command post, these parts here, and you got the border and it tells you what it is. Okay, so I'll give you guys an example of that so you can see. Okay, so I know I'm not making the wrong oopsies on that. Question marks that show numbers on the back. Okay, and then as far as how do I know what pieces go on which ogre, again, the lines delineate it so you can see here, all these pieces here represent the Ogre Mark III, and it kind of gives that three-dimensional feel to it. They do sell miniatures for this. I think they sell, you could find them in metal, but I also believe they're in plastic as well. Okay, it depends on how much you love the game and how replayable is it for you. You also have some terrain overlays. That's all well and good if you want to do other things to the battlefield. So now we look at this thing here. And again, you got some more concealment markers with numbers below them. And then here, depending how you look at it, you've got missile tanks. Here, you've got a couple of howitzers. So you got 4 howitzers there. That can do a lot of damage, but you also want to make sure the ogre doesn't get too close because they're easily taken out. Ground effect vehicles, you got plenty of those. What makes the ground effect vehicles different from the others is they have 2 movement phases, so they can move up, hit the ogre, and then move away in a second phase. So that's what makes the GEVs different. You also have some heavy tanks as well. Okay, so that's very cool. Missile tanks. You have a number of missile tanks. Okay, every unit has its strengths and weaknesses. Then, of course, you have the infantry. Okay, there is no stacking of counters in this game. So if you got a 3 infantry unit and it takes a hit, it goes down to a 2 unit, a 2-1 infantry unit. If a 2-1 infantry unit takes a hit, then it becomes a 1. These guys do not get disabled. They just simply flip over to their lower status. And of course, if you got a 1 infantry unit that takes a disabled result, it's out of the battlefield. But now, since I turned this over, you can see the familiar yellow and black caution tape that it's disabled, and it still gives the defense, okay, which is pretty useful. That tells everybody, I can't use this unit. Nuts. What am I going to do? Well, hopefully they'll recover the next turn unless the ogre decides to open up and give them, you know, an opportunity. I don't see that happening here. It's been a while since I played the game. I definitely want to play a game to see how it works out, and certainly I'm solo guy. I'm going to do it solo. I'll see what I can do for maybe perhaps programming the ogre and then go from there. All in all, this is a classic game and it's done in a nice format, I think. Absolutely. You could continue to find the smaller versions out there for it, or you could get Ogre GEV, which would have, I believe, more unit types, more rules. Okay, but this is like the basic Ogre, and it's still one you have to sit down and think your way through. Hey, I hope this one, this unboxing benefited you. This is Solo Guy signing off. Take care, God bless you, and have a good day.